Okay, it looks like we're at the top of the hour. Welcome to your LinkedIn training today. Um, we're committed to making this 45 minutes long, and there's still people joining really quickly right now. So let's get rid of a little housekeeping here, and we'll get started within a minute or so. So first of all, I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Would you just type it into chat if I'm coming across okay? Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Looks like everybody can hear me all right. Again, people are joining still very, very quickly. So just out of curiosity, uh, I'm in uh, I'm in the Mountain Time Zone here. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah right now. But who's the furthest person away from me? Do we have anybody from Europe or Asia that wants to chime in and let us know where they're coming from? All right, all right, Ivan in Serbia. That's cool. Okay, Sam, Australia. I think Australia is actually further away. So Sam, as of right now, you're the winner. You're the furthest person away. All right. So we're now a minute into our time here. We've only got 45 minutes to spend here. So if people are not here yet and are still joining, you're just going to have to kind of pick up where you find us. But let's get started. So my name is Doug Brown, and I believe that I am an expert on connecting and making leads through LinkedIn. I spent my entire professional life in sales and marketing in one way or the other. And so let me tell you why I think I'm an expert and how I became an expert in LinkedIn. And what happened was a few years ago, my wife and I were kind of stuck in a little business that was just flat. It was a business to business company that competed against, really tough competitors, people that were better funded, longer time in business. And we just had a hard time really cracking the code in order to make the business continue to grow. Now it was a successful business. It had gotten to a certain point based on some personal relationships that we had going in. But to take the business from this little successful spot where it was and continue growing was proving very, very difficult for us. I mean, it seemed like everything we tried was either too expensive or just not scalable. We were doing a lot of PPC ads. We were doing a lot of presenting in different ways and going to trade shows and all sorts of different things. But everything we tried seemed like it was coming up a little bit short. Our PPC worked, but when we started looking at what it cost us to start getting more leads and really what our cost per conversion as opposed to our cost per click was, it was prohibitive. And our sales guys just weren't getting enough qualified leads to kind of take it forward. Well, we cracked the nut when we figured out how to use LinkedIn effectively to prospect and to find qualified leads for our business. Now, it wasn't really easy to do. Once we settled on LinkedIn, we stopped and started a couple of times. We didn't really understand how to use it. We couldn't find a map. There wasn't anybody that had blazed the way that could tell us how to do this thing. So we were kind of going it on our own and kind of making it up as we went. But we started seeing enough success that we knew it would be something that could be predictable and repeatable. So we took our time and we really made a system out of it. We made some tools, we made some systems, we made things that could be followed, repeated, so that again our success would be predictable and we could really base our growth out of it. Now, what we realized after a little while is that the formula that we came up with, the systems and the tools that we came up with, really had a life of their own. In some way, they were more valuable than the business we were working on. So that's what we want to talk about today. This is a free training where I'm going to give you the benefit of the knowledge that we came up with, how we made LinkedIn work for us. Now, it's going to be fast. We're going to go through this pretty quickly, but a couple of things would help out. First of all, shut your phone off, shut the door. We don't want to hear the dogs barking in the background. We want to have, 40 more minutes or so of really kind of your concentrated attention. And with that, you're going to be able to come away today with some systems and some ideas at least as to how this works, with the objective that maybe you can extrapolate on our success and see if maybe some of the challenges that we came up with or that we were facing and the solutions that we came up with might be applicable to your business. Now, like I said, there's nothing that I'm going to try and sell you today. There's nothing for sale. To the contrary, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a bunch of stuff. So this is literally a free training, uh, and it's just there for your benefit. Again, with the idea that maybe you can learn something about how we use LinkedIn, and maybe you can take that and apply it in your business. Now, what I want you to understand, first of all, if we think about this, and if you'll go on this little journey with me, is that the future isn't really something that is just going to happen to us. I mean, I really am a believer in the idea that everyone is in charge of their own destiny. And hopefully, after you hear a little bit about what we've been doing on LinkedIn, you're going to get the vision of what your future could look like if you make some of the changes and if you implement some of these things into your business. So this is, I want you to think this as a call to adventure. Let's lock our arms together and make your future a different and a great place. Like I said, we've only got about 40 more minutes to go. So if you'll stick around for that 40 minutes, I promise you I won't waste your time, and that you're going to leave here with a secret key that you need to unlock an unlimited future. Now, this presentation is all about sales, but it doesn't matter if you're really a sales guy, if you're a sales manager, or if you're a business owner. You know, nothing in this world happens without sales. And you know, maybe that's just the sales guy in me talking, but nothing happens without sales. If you don't have a business with engaged customer base, with an engaged customer base, and a growing customer base, I promise you your business isn't growing. And if you're not growing, you're receding. So let's take it from that point of view and let's talk about what is possible. And I want you to leave here understanding that it's possible that you can put a multiplier to your business. Not just a little incremental change, but the things we're going to talk about today can multiply your results. First of all, 1 in 8 sales jobs in the United States are full-time positions, and over $1 trillion are paid as sales commissions each year. Now, maybe you're earning those as commissions right now, or maybe you're receiving them as commissions, paying them as commissions. Either you're earning them or paying them, but either way, it doesn't matter. I want you to think about what is possible. Now, here's a statistic for you. The national average salesperson in the United States earns about $40,000 a year. $40,000 a year. Now, can you just take that $1 trillion and divide it by 40,000 and figure out what you're likely to be making or what your potential is? No. I mean, the point of this and talking about what is possible is that the top 5% of salespeople earn almost $750,000 a year. That's 20 times. Think about that. The top 5% earn 20 times what the average person makes. What a huge disparity. But that's what's possible. And that's what I want you to think about. So again, it doesn't matter if you're earning that as a commission or you are managing a sales team or owning a bunch of salespeople in your business. It's possible to make 20 times what you're currently making. 20 times. So that is what's possible. Imagine what your life would look like if you could 20 times your earnings, whether that's as a sales guy, a sales manager, or as a business owner. Imagine what 20 times would look like. Well, the problem is we need to cross the threshold from where we are to what is possible and to what we could be doing. So think about, you know, what is it that you're doing right now that generates your success? Where is your current sales coming from? Maybe you're cold calling. Maybe you're doing direct mail. Maybe you're doing pay-per-click. Maybe you're relying on networking. Maybe you're doing a referral system. Maybe you're really just hoping and praying that something will change. But the point of this discussion and the point of this thought experience right now is that unless you are making more than $500,000 per year per salesperson, what you're doing right now is not working as well as it could be. So you need to stop, you need to evaluate, and you need to change what you're doing. Now, it's Einstein that said, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, but we all do that to some degree or another. Why is change so hard? Well, in a word, it's fear. We fear what we don't understand, and we fear what we don't know. And that's what I hope to address with you today. I want to give you a better understanding of what successful sales professionals and sales teams are doing and how you can implement those changes in your business. You know, to take the step forward, to move from where we are to cross that threshold, we need an ally. Now, what is an ally? An ally is not a partner. It's not somebody you're going to split profits with, but it's someone who has the same exact interests that you have. In other words, it's someone that wins when you win. It's someone that succeeds when you succeed. And fortunately, what I want you to come away with today is an understanding that social media, when leveraged properly, has become just such an ally. Here's something to think about. Salespeople that use social media outsell 80% of the competition. So how do we get from that middle of the pack up towards the 5% area? Well, you know, social media is a great place to start. And again, that's what we're going to help you address today and help you understand. I want to give you an understanding that using social media can make all the difference. And why is that? First of all, 75% of B2B buyers use social media to help find their vendors. Leads that are made with social media, or people that use social media in their lead process, close their leads at almost twice the rate of people that don't. Now, if you've been in sales a while, I know you've heard this before. ABS. You know, you may have that tattooed on your forehead or somewhere. Always be selling. ABS. Well, I want you to consider that ABS has maybe run its course, and that it has turned into something new. And what it has turned into is always be connecting. ABC, always be connecting. And I want you to consider that your net worth is really your network, and vice versa. Your network is your net worth. What does that mean? Well, the wider your connection base, the more people that you are connected with, it just can't help but translating into business success. Is any social media good for you? Well, you know, I guess it depends on what business you're in. If you're selling to consumers, this presentation probably isn't really for you. LinkedIn is for business. It's for business to business sales. You know, if you're using Facebook to connect with consumers, great. Maybe you're using Pinterest. Maybe you're using Instagram or something else. Those are great things for connecting directly to consumers. But if your interest is slaying the B2B sales dragon, LinkedIn is your spot. And why is that? Well, first of all, LinkedIn has almost 500 million users right now. And a good portion, almost a third of those, are in the US. The average LinkedIn user makes over $100,000 per year. Now, that's just different than any of the other social media. You know, LinkedIn takes a rap, and you hear it disparaged every now and then. But the point is, you know, it's not trying to be Facebook. It's there for business. And the majority of B2B buyers make their purchasing decisions after checking you out on LinkedIn. It's an important spot. If you're in a B2B sales environment, you literally can't be without LinkedIn. But you have to use LinkedIn correctly. Now, I'll bet you that everybody here on this call right now has a LinkedIn account. And I'll bet you that most of you would have a really hard time thinking about or identifying a single customer that you could attribute directly to your LinkedIn profile or presence. Well, I'm going to show you how to change that. I'm going to show you how to change your LinkedIn profile from a resume to a resource. I'm going to show you how to use LinkedIn to create warm introductions to your prospects. And I'm going to show you how to turn LinkedIn into a literal machine, something that is predictable and repeatable, something that you can literally base your business success going forward. And I told you that we've done this before. So what I'm about to give you is the secret sauce that we created over years of working as to how to make it happen, how to turn LinkedIn into that B2B sales machine, it can all be boiled down into 6 steps. And I'm going to go through these with you really quickly. Again, you don't have to take a ton of notes because I'm going to give it to you at the end. But the first thing that you need to do to make LinkedIn work for you is work on your headline. Now, you may not even know what a headline on LinkedIn is, and that's just fine. We're going to go through that in some detail. And again, I'm going to give you some notes. After we've worked on our headline, we're going to work on our LinkedIn profile. After we've worked on our LinkedIn profile, I'm going to show you how to use LinkedIn to find your perfect customer. After we know how to find our perfect customer, I'm going to tell you how to contact that perfect customer, again, through LinkedIn. After we've made a connection with that guy, with that perfect customer, we're going to have to follow up message him. And again, don't need to take a lot of notes. I'm going to give you a cheat sheet, some swipe files at the end that you can use as the basis of your messaging. After we have contacted that person on LinkedIn, our perfect customer, I'm going to show you how to move the conversation outside of LinkedIn. First of all, let's start with headline. So a headline on LinkedIn can either be good or bad, but what is a headline? A headline is the little line right below your name where you have your first chance to tell someone what you do and to introduce yourself. Now, what do you think of her headline? What does Leary's little headline do for you? The right answer is not much. Let's look at another one. This is Jacob. He's a managing partner. That's his headline. Now, Jacob's obviously spent a lot of money on his LinkedIn profile. He's got a professional picture. He's even paying for a premium. You can tell that over here by this little thing in the upper right-hand corner. You can tell that he's paying for premium, but his headline, managing partner, does nothing for me. I challenge you to guess exactly what Jacob does other than manage. And more importantly, I challenge you to tell me what you could get out of connecting with Jacob. So the best headlines do a couple of things. The best headlines answer 2 questions. First of all, they answer the question, who you help, and next, how you help them. Who you help and how you help them. Let's look at a good example. Jeff Newman. I help law firms by providing practice management software solutions. Great headline. What do we get out of that? We get, first of all, who he helps, right? Jeff helps law firms. No question about who he's looking for and how he helps them. How does Jeff help law firms? By providing practice management solutions, basically. Take a good look at Jeff's headline again and his whole thing there, and think about that in comparison to the ones we looked at before, where they were either just an accountant or a managing partner. Well, so much for headlines. Again, I'm going to give you some help on creating a good headline of your own a little later on. But after we've got our headline figured out, the next thing we need to talk about is our profile on LinkedIn. Now, the profile is what we get when we go to somebody's page. Let's go to Jeff's again. And this profile page on LinkedIn is going to be probably 3 or 4 times as long as what I've taken the little screenshot here, but just the top of it gives you an idea what we're talking about. So the profile page on LinkedIn has a bunch of elements that we need to work on. It's got a headline, a background image, an image, contact info, link, the URL on LinkedIn. It tells people who your connections are, gives them a summary. You have a chance to put multimedia content up there in addition to your experience, your education, your honors, awards, publication groups, recommendations, and on and on and on. Now, what I want you to understand, obviously we're not going to have a chance to go through each of those things here today. We could spend literally an hour on each one of them. But I want you to think about each one of those elements the same way that you started to think about your headline. Each of those elements need to support the idea of telling people who you help and how you help them. Who you help and how you help them. Now, again, we could spend a lot of time on that, but rather than do that, and just a way to kind of speed it up, I've made a little infographic here. And this infographic goes through each one of those elements of a LinkedIn profile and gives you a suggestion as to how to improve those. Again, I'm going to let you download all that stuff. So You can write that down now, or you can write it down later. I'm going to give you a slide at the end with all the information, but that that infographics is there for you to download, and it'll take you, an hour or two to fix your headline and to fix your profile, all the pieces on it. But it's really, really worth it, and it's the most important thing that you need to do, really, to start your process, is fix that profile. Now, after we fixed our headline, after we fixed the rest of our profile, the next thing we need to do is use LinkedIn to help identify our perfect customer. And how do we do that? Well, we can go to LinkedIn. Any page on LinkedIn gives us the chance to do a standard search. This is even for free people that aren't paying LinkedIn anything. And LinkedIn lets us search those 500 million members by 8 different criteria. Those criteria are their name, their location, their current and past companies, the industry they work in, some of their interests, and some of their schools. So think about that. You can search 500 million people by those different criteria. How do you do that? Well, like I say, you go to any LinkedIn page. At the top of the page, you simply click into the search box. Once you're in the search box, it takes you to this little advanced search page where, again, our 8 different criteria are there, the things that we can search on. Now, we can search the entirety of the LinkedIn database there. We can search just the people we've connected with, or we can search our second level connections. And that's important because our second level connections are really the only people that we can send messages to for free. So we can send them a free message if they're our second level connection. And again, what does a second level connection mean? Well, it's somebody that is connected to somebody that I'm connected with. So let's try that and see how it works. So again, this is a brand new profile for one of our people here that only had about 100 connections in it. So even with only 100 connections, the second level people that you can get to, is just almost 25,000 people. So with 100 connections, you can get to 25,000 different people that you can search and potentially message. Well, 25,000 is obviously not a useful list, so we need to figure out how to narrow that search down a little bit. So let's add another search criteria. Let's search by their industry, and let's say we're going to search for marketing and advertising. So of the 25,000 people that were on that list initially, we can see that about 3,500 of those 25,000 are in this particular industry of marketing and advertising. Well, that's still not a tremendously useful list of people. I mean, 3,500 just in a specific industry, still not really useful in terms of finding our specific customers. So how do we get a little more specific? Well, if you think about it, all the social media, really all the social networks, have had a little bit of a hard time getting from where they were with a bunch of people on them to making a profit. And so there's a lot of different ways that they have thought about doing that. But one of the ways that LinkedIn has done that works great for us is they give us a way to search more specifically if we pay them a little bit of money. So the product that LinkedIn has that costs a little bit of money, that lets us narrow that search down a whole bunch further, is called Sales Navigator. Now, Sales Navigator costs about $70 a month, but I'm telling you, it's the best $70 you'll ever spend. So if we sign up for Sales Navigator, and by the way, if you want to give it a try, they even let you try it for free for a month. So you do have to put a credit card in, but you can cancel after a month if you want. So you can try Sales Navigator for free. The Sales Navigator search kind of looks like this. So instead of just having those 8 criteria, we now have 23 different criteria that we can search on that entire database. Those 23 criteria include a couple of different Boolean searches, and a Boolean search is basically just a wildcard search. So we can search their entire profile, including their posts, including their summaries, by a couple of these words. So we can really start getting specific. Let's go to that same profile of just 100 connections and see what it looks like if we search it in Sales Navigator. So here's a real specific search for us. So we're looking for a keyword of SaaS, software as a solution. We're looking for some specific geography, people that live in the San Diego area. Again, it's got to be second level connections. Now let's add to it company size, 11 to 50 employees. So we kind of have an idea of what the company, company size is, and we can extrapolate that, maybe revenue and all sorts of different things. And who do we want to find there? Well, in this case, let's just look for the owner, and let's just look for the owner that's still operating as the CEO. Now that's a really specific list. If we had we can adjust that by anything we want, but holy cow, we're now talking a very specific and potentially a very useful list. If we do that, put those criteria in and just hit the search button, LinkedIn will immediately build us a list of those 103 people. Now this is just a screenshot of the top 2, but basically it's a list of all those people that meet our search criteria. Now the really cool thing about LinkedIn and about connecting on LinkedIn is the idea that every time we connect with somebody new, we now have their connections as potential second level connections. So it's really, it grows really fast. So this little profile that we have with only 100 members in it right now, only 100 people in the connection pool, has a search result of 103. If we did this in a different connection or a different profile, somebody that had more, it would grow really fast. And how does that work? Well, it's kind of like the old idea of the parlor game, the 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. I don't know if you ever played that, but the idea is that everybody on Earth is really connected, no more than 6 people away from everybody on Earth. And with LinkedIn, it's even a little bit better than that, because what we find is that, birds of a feather flock together, so to speak, meaning that as you connect with somebody that is the CEO of a software company in San Diego, he probably has a few more people that are CEOs of software companies in San Diego in his connection pool. So again, it grows. Every time we can make a connection, our potential pool of connections grows. What you're going to find is that by the time you have a few thousand connections in your niche, you're going to literally be connected to 90% of the people that that are your perfect customers, no matter where they are, no matter what their geography is, and no matter what the niche is. There's just not a single niche on Earth that you can't expand as you start to search. Well, that's how we search on LinkedIn. So that's how we identify our perfect customer, with the added benefit that every time we find another one of our perfect customers and connect with them, we're going to have access to more and more and more. So it's kind of a self-perpetuating machine, so to speak. Let's get back to our list of 6 ways to do things, or our 6 steps to success. Once we have improved our headline and profile so that when people find us, they're finding the right thing. Once we have used LinkedIn, understand how to use LinkedIn to find our perfect customers, the next thing we want to do is connect with those perfect customers. And LinkedIn actually makes this really easy to do. If we go back to our search result page, and let's say that we want to connect with Stefan, all we do is we click on his profile to go to his connection page, to his profile page. Once we're there, we just go to the send message button, we twirl down, and we click on the connect request button that pops up. If we click on that connection request button, LinkedIn goes so far as to make a personalized or somewhat personalized invitation to connect, already ready to send to Stefan. Now, the thing that I want to have you remember, along with a couple other things here, so my second huge takeaway is, whatever you do, don't use that stock language. Don't use it. They give you the chance to customize it, and you need to. So this is something that we have done a lot of testing with over years, and we found exactly what works and what doesn't work. What doesn't work is the stock request. What does work is personalizing the invitation with their name, by telling them how we are connected, and by telling them, again, what they'll get out of it. Everybody really wants to know at the end of the day, what's in it for me? So we tell them those things. We tell them what they're going to get out of connecting with us. Looks kind of like this. Hey, Stefan, we both know Steve. We share some more business friends, and we both seem to have an interest in whatever the industry is. So right there, we've let him know that we know who he is. We let him know what our connection is. And now the last thing is we're going to tell them what they get out of it. It doesn't have to be a lot. I'm just going to tell them I have a great network on LinkedIn of like-minded people, and I'd love to have you join our group. Well, that's enough. So we've given him all the elements of the little thing in his invitation. And what we're going to find is that the people that we send this to, about 30% of them are going to do what? You know, if we send this invitation out, what's going to happen? Well, they're going to visit our LinkedIn page. That's the point right now. They're going to visit our LinkedIn profile page. And what are they going to find there? They're going to find our headline. They're going to find out who we help, or they're going to find out how we help them. They're going to see our image, our contact information, our connections, our profile summary, our multimedia content, our experience, our education, our honors, awards, publications, groups, and recommendations. Every one of those things has been optimized before they get there to tell them why they should connect with us, who we help, and how we help them. Now, in addition to that, in addition to about 30% of those people coming to our profile page, which amounts to our sales page, which amounts to the same benefit that we get out of paying for a connection, about 40% of the people that we send those connections to are going to actually connect with us. Let's do the math here. If we send out 50 connection requests per day, 5 days a week, that's 250 connection requests per week. If 40% of those people connect with us, we're going to have 100 qualified new leads per week. Now, let's think about that for a second. 100 new qualified leads per week. What do we mean by qualified? Well, what do we know about these people? First of all, they've been to our sales page. It's our profile page, but we're going to call it our sales page. So they know who we help and how we help them. Now, if that's offensive to them, if they don't want what we have to provide, or if they're not part of our group, think about Jacob's profile for a little bit. He helps law firms by giving them software solutions. If they're not a law firm, if they just somehow made it onto our list and they're not qualified, they're probably not going to connect with us. If they think, yeah, the last thing I want is somebody that wants to provide a software solution for me, they're not going to connect. So it's a self-selection kind of deal where the 100 new qualified leads, the 100 connections that we make every week really do constitute a qualified lead. They know who we are, they know what we do, they know who we help and how we help them. All right. So once we have connected with those people, those 100 people a week, what do? Well, obviously we need to follow up with them. So just having them as connection, it doesn't mean much until we start to follow up with them. And we do that through LinkedIn. So the first thing I want you to remember is that social media is, it's social. We don't start out with a sales pitch, and we always give something of value before we ask for anything, including their time. Their time is probably the most valuable thing they have. So we don't ask for anything until we've given them something. Remember what Zig Ziglar taught us, and that is that we can have anything or everything in life that we want if we just give enough other people what they want. All we have to do is help them out first. We have to build our tribe of people that look at us as someone that's an authority, someone that is a giver and a provider, and that's how we start things out on social media. And probably it's a pretty good rule of thumb for every one of our relationships. All right, getting back to our 6 steps. So once we've worked on our headline and our profile, once we've started searching for and connecting with our ideal customers, and once we've messaged them, and again, don't worry about it. I've got some suggested language for you in terms of what those messages all look like. The next thing we do is we move our conversation outside of LinkedIn. Now, why do we do that? Well, LinkedIn, again, is just really not like a lot of other social media. People don't log on to it and stay in it and look at it all day long like some people do Facebook or something else. A lot of, the best and most valuable connections you'll make on LinkedIn, probably look at LinkedIn once a day or less, and maybe way less than that. So the point is, we want to communicate with people how they like to be communicated with in the most convenient manner, and LinkedIn actually makes it possible for us to do that. Makes it possible to move that conversation outside of LinkedIn. How do we do it? How do we migrate our contacts away from LinkedIn? Well, as soon as we have messaged them 2 or 3 times through LinkedIn, we make sure that the next message we send them is going to be something along the line of letting them know that we're going to email them, or we're going to text them, or we're going to call them, or whatever the next step to your sales funnel might be. We let them know right through LinkedIn that we're going to do those things. LinkedIn facilitates that again by letting us gather the contact information from our new contacts on LinkedIn, right from their profiles. Now, we can't just go in and search LinkedIn and find, a million people there and get that contact information. It only works for the people that we're connected with. So as soon as we've made that first level connection with one of our ideal customers, LinkedIn allows us to see their particulars, and allows us to get that contact information from them. So how does it work? Well, let's look at this connection. Again, Byron is one of my first level connections, meaning that he has accepted the invitation that I've given to him in the past. We go kind of the upper right hand portion of his profile, and we twirl it open where it says show more. And what we're going to see after we do that is a lot of the particulars that we have with Byron. We can see when we connected with him. We can see what his website is. We can see who he works for. We can see all sorts of stuff. First and foremost, we can see his best email address. All right? We can see his best email address. How valuable is that? About 40% of the people on LinkedIn actually even put their mobile telephone number on, in their profile, free for you to see and scrape. Now, mobile phone numbers, why? Well, I've seen some incredible sales funnels that take advantage of texting. If you need more information about how that works, just drop me an email, and I'll let you know who we like to use for that. But there's some great sales funnels that involve texting. So how do we do this? Well, we simply we just copy and paste the contact information from our new contacts, and we add them to our sales funnel. It's as simple as that. We can put them in a drip campaign. We can put them in a telephoning campaign. We can put them in any sort of, whatever's working for you right now. We're going to be adding people to that. And not just any people. Remember what these people are. They're super qualified. They're people that not only fit the profile of your perfect customer, but they've seen your page. They know what you do. They know how you do it. And even greater than that, now that is beyond knowing what you do, they've got a connection with you. So they're not cold calls anymore. They're not cold contacts anymore. We're starting to warm them up. They've received some messaging from us. They're our social media friend. They're someone that we have the beginnings of a relationship with. Now, what I want you to think about as you do this, and I want you to give this a try, the proof is in the pudding. I'm sure you're tracking your leads right now. I'm sure you understand the cost of your leads from various sources and are doing a good analysis of how much it costs you to convert those things. Now, the statistics are going to tell you that you should convert at twice the rate with these people. And the cost, it's going to be less. I don't know where you're getting your leads right now, but I can pretty much guarantee you that, at least our experience has been that the cost of these leads is far, far less than leads from any other source, and your close rates on these leads are going to be twice as high as your leads from any other source. Well, really, that's as simple as it is. These are the 6 steps to LinkedIn success. This is really coming to the end of our training today, and we're pushing up against the time limit that I promised you that we would keep. But this is all you really need to do. You need to work on your headline, your profile, Then I've given you the secret to finding your perfect customers on LinkedIn. I've told you how to make a contact request to them. I've told you what following messages ought to look like, and I've shown you how to move that conversation out of LinkedIn. These 6 steps constitute the secret sauce. It's as simple as that. But by doing these things, you're going to take advantage of that ally. Remember, we talked about what an ally is. It's someone that gains when you gain. Well, LinkedIn fits that entirely. These are the things that LinkedIn wants you to do. If you use these things, you're going to make, LinkedIn is going to be a better resource because you're using it the way that they want it to be used. You're going to increase their value at the same time they're increasing your value. So both of you win. It's a win-win if you use LinkedIn the way that we've talked about today. Now, I told you that if you stayed to the end, and we are at the end, that I'd give you a little free offer. And here's the offer. If you'll go to my calendar and sign up for a free 20-minute consultation, I will review your headline and profile with you, whether that's before or after you started to try and make some of these changes. I'll do some sample searching with you on LinkedIn using my account even, so that you don't have to go to premium right away, and see if it's possible for you to identify your perfect customer there. I can pretty much guarantee you that it is. Then I'll look at your messaging, and help you refine that messaging to those people. And I'm going to review your sales funnel process with you. Now, what's in it for me? Why would I do all those things? Well, I'm so convinced that this will work for you that I'm willing to invest my time and money into it, to give you the resources and to give you the way that you can go do this on your own. And again, what's in it for me? Well, we do this as a service. At some point, if you can convince yourself that this will work for you, we would love to step in and automate this for you and make this a turnkey system where you can do nothing but take the fruits of these contacts out the back end. Take the leads that are generated through LinkedIn with very little time and resource of your own going into it. We'll take the work out of it for you. But you don't have to use us to do these things. Seriously, all we're going to do is do this as a service for you and do it faster and maybe more efficiently. But you are invited, in fact, encouraged to try this on your own and see if it works for you. And I'll help you do that. So here's all you need to know. These are the resources you need to make this whole thing work. First of all, here's the link to my calendar. I'm going to give you a minute to write this down. Here is the download link that you need. And we are over time right now. We've used the time up that I promised you that we would take and stay within. And so I'm not going to take time to answer questions right now. There's a bunch of them that have been coming in chat. But if you'll take those same questions and just email them to me, here's my email address, doug@szeak.com. If you'll just email me, I'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. So again, thank you for your time in attending this free training today. I am such a huge fan of LinkedIn and such a huge fan of what it's done for our little business that, like I said, we decided to separate it out from our business and form Szeak as a resource for people that would like us to help them in consulting with or automating their LinkedIn connections. At any rate, thanks again for your time. Drop me a note and let me know how it's working for you. And until next time, Doug Brown from Szeak, and we're going to cut it off right now. Thanks so much.